No backroom team. And how, I mean, how is it possible? Right, we've talked about Celtic for long and weary now about the bungling that's going on at boardroom level. Martin O'Neill's been there all this time. How come it's taken all this time to get to 2 days before Scotland's first World Cup match that you finally say, we've agreed a contract? But by the way, we can't come to terms with the background team. And if rumours, I don't know, I've not checked this out, Scott, but I know that we were having discussions. There is this suggestion that, in fact, Sean Maloney, Mark Fotheringham, have been asked to take a lower wage. So a wage cut.
Incredible.
After winning the League and Cup double.
Exactly.
What's going on? I mean, I don't think, and as much as I've said, and I believe it to be true, Martin O'Neill earned the right to make the decision. If Martin O'Neill turns around and says, yeah, I'm ready, I'm good to go again, then maybe Celtic don't have a choice. Maybe you can't turn around to the guy and say, look, Martin, I'm sorry, but thanks very much, but we need you to stand down because we need a new chapter. We need to start future-proofing this. We need to start moving it forward. We need something more contemporary. Martin O'Neill's got to turn 75 before the end of the season. The mess that Celtic are making of themselves right now is astonishing. And I think that they're hoping that Martin O'Neill is the continuity candidate, that he's the guy that unifies the club, that maybe the Green Brigade might pipe down a little bit. Maybe they won't face the same kind of unrest. I can only imagine that the Celtic fans will be incandescent at what's going on this summer. I think they'll come back for the start of next season even angrier than they were towards the end of last.
Sounds as if the Celtic hierarchy are also relying on Martin O'Neill to try and persuade his two assistants to sign on.
Take a hit.
Even if it means less money. I mean, it's
£70 million sitting in the bank.
It's absolutely so a coaching. By the way, Celtic and Martin O'Neill, since they come in, have absolutely lauded the work of Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham.
And all the players have.
And helping.
And all the players have.
Exactly. So the reward for that is, as well as winning a double, by the way, you might need to take the same or even less a salary than what you were on before.
How is it possible for Celtic to make a mess of appointing the straightforward one, the one that was already there, in place, in position? How is it possible?
Also, how bad does it look when you're announcing the manager on a new deal, but you can't commit to announcing that his backroom team have also signed up? So what's Martin O'Neill? What's Martin O'Neill going to do? Try and get Steve Walford back? For his previous days as assistant? It just, from the outside, it just seems utterly ridiculous. And why they would announce that? Why you wouldn't wait till you've got O'Neill, Maloney and Fotheringham completely tied up? That's your backroom team for the new season, but it's a 1 year and then 1 year option as O'Neill's got. Why you wouldn't want to do that all at once? Just seems ridiculous.
I think, Scott. So I think there's two sides of the coin with Martin O'Neill. There will be Celtic fans that are genuinely delighted because it was such an adventure. It was so fascinating to see this guy coming back in the DeLorean 20 years later, winning the double, winning the league in the last day, all the circumstances, fairy tale stuff. And there will be Celtic fans that think, I could go another season of that. But honestly, if you're in the boardroom, do you not need to be looking on a sort of a long-term strategy for where the club, how to drive things forward? A 74-year-old manager who, by the way, has just come in by hook or by crook, managed to carry a broken squad over the line on his own. And now you're asking me to go again. And what would really worry me is, if that's the form that the board are in this summer, what's the transfer window going to look like?
By the way, Martin O'Neill himself, towards the end of the season, cast doubts as to whether he would have the energy and enthusiasm to go for another year. He's obviously been
fancied it.
However, I said to you in the flight over here today, and it's absolutely nothing to do with, it's not slight on Martin O'Neill at all. An absolute top manager on his day, and what he did to get that Celtic team over the line,
phenomenal,
and get a double, it was incredible. But as you say, I mean, with all due respect to O'Neill, is that really the answer? For Celtic to get into Champions League qualifiers, they've already won so many titles in a row. As you say, long term is the next step, to try and improve in Europe, improve the Champions League. To put that on Martin O'Neill at this stage of his life and his career, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right decision. Short term, might be absolutely fine,
No,
Scott.
but I used that phrase last season, that Celtic had got themselves into, because of their own mistakes and mismanagement of the club, they ended up cornered into a situation where they had to pure and simply be short-term FC for last season. They did so. Martin O'Neill worked absolute wonders as a manager to pull it all together, to galvanise it, to somehow get them over that finishing line. But they can't really. Is the strategy going forward? It's just pure short-termism. This season after next season. What if Martin O'Neill goes again next season? Does he say, right, I'll exercise that option? I want to go. Where's the long-term planning and strategy here? Celtic are not being. I mean, this is.
You know what it's like, Jacko? We spoke about it earlier. It's as if the hierarchy at Celtic have said, look, we were poor last season, and this guy still get us over the line.
So we really don't need to try that.
We were nowhere near our best, and we're so-called rivals, Rangers and Hearts, still couldn't take the title off us. So you know what? Let's go again. And as you say,
and the way we're looking at it going, and if you didn't have the Wilfred Nancy fever dream in the middle of that, Martin O'Neill would have very possibly won the league out the park. So they could look at that data and stat and say that proves if you give them the full season next season, it might be a lot more comfortable. Maybe it will.
But as you say,
but you can't claim that this is long-term planning.
And that's fine. But recruitment will need to be a lot better, because the recruitment in January wasn't what got them over the line in the title race. It was Martin O'Neill and his backroom staff who have yet to sign up.
Despite of the signings in January.